So good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Broker Forum that's sponsored by the affiliate members, industry partners of MetroTex Association of Realtors. Thank you for joining us today. We have 4 amazing brokers here to answer your burning questions on business and how to conduct and relate in these unprecedented times of COVID-19. So again, welcome this morning. I'd kind of like to go through everyone who's registered this morning, and let's just say hello and who we are and what company you're with, and let's keep it at that so we can move on. I'm going to work through the process today to respect everybody's time. I know we've got a lot to do. So Francie, I see you up first. Please say hello.
Good morning, everybody. Francie Bell, Fantastic Moves.
Diana, say hello.
Hi, I'm from MetroTex. I am the Government Affairs.
I'm Anjanette Sells-Jory. I'm your chair for the affiliate committee this year at MetroTex Association of Realtors and with Fairway Mortgage. Lance.
Hey everybody, Lance Stenaho with Inspect 360. Let's see you.
Ashley. Ashley, say hello.
Hello, I am Ashley Gentry, and I am a realtor / manager of RedBranch Realty, just for transparency's sake.
Dave, Mr. Bowman.
Hi, Dave Bowman with Century 21 Mike Bowman.
Linda.
Linda Callicutt with Coldwell Banker, Dallas, Oklahoma.
Jane. Jane, say hello.
Jane, you're on mute.
Nedra, say hello.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm Jane Sadek. I'm with Images, photography, videography, drones.
Thank you. Nedra.
Nidra Hines, Effortless Charm Staging.
Joe.
Joe Mazza, BB&T Truist Home Mortgage.
Shannon.
Hi, Shannon with Amerispec Home Inspections.
Amy.
Hi, Amy Hamilton with North American Title in Southlake.
Mr. Rogers, Healy.
Hi, I'm Rogers Healy with Rogers Healy and Associates Real Estate.
Thank you. Jeff.
Thank you, Anjanette. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jeff Varnell, and I'm the broker and owner of Coldwell Realty, and that's Pam, my wife. She's on another call, and she's with Shutter Up Quick. She's an affiliate and major investor.
Thank you. Deshay.
Thank you again. Appreciate that.
Good morning. My name is Deshay Jones, and I'm with Tarrant Roofing.
Mr. Bill. Head.
Bill Head, I'm Director of Communications with MetroTex.
Michelle.
Michelle Davis, North American Title, Southlake.
Howard.
Howard Zimmerman with Choice Home Warranty.
Kathy.
Kathy Mullen with the CE Shop.
I think we pretty much covered everyone here this morning. Anybody else that I do not see?
Adrian
Chelsea. I'm here on the road with truck freight again.
Hey, Jaime, thanks for joining us.
Keita Wood, Structured Foundation Repairs.
Hey, Keita.
Adrian Kirby, Gateway Mortgage.
Good morning, Adrian Kirby.
Chelsea Rodriguez, sharpest girl in town with Cutco Closing Gifts.
Good morning, Chelsea. Thank you all for joining us. I think it's time to get started. Again, want to thank you all for being present today. Francie and I have worked on, we're very grateful to have these 4 distinguished broker realtor partners here to talk to us today and answer our burning questions about business, how to continue to grow during this unprecedented times. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our 4 speakers. We'll introduce them one at a time and just give you a little brief background bio on each, and we'll go through the questions. But as we go through the forum, I'm just going to give you a little heads up. We will be muting everyone to prevent background noise, because I hear a little bit right now, as a matter of fact. And when we get to the question and answer session about 12:15, we will unmute you, and then we'll be able to ask questions and answer them for you at the end of the session. would like to close out the forum at 12:30 to stay on target. So with that, I'm going to introduce Miss Linda Callicutt with Coldwell Banker. She's a branch manager. She's in the office, Coldwell Banker Realty on Cherry Lane. I'm reading these bios, by the way, so please excuse me. Currently, Miss Linda is a 2020 Texas Realtors Regional VP, Texas Realtors Professional Management Vice Chair. She's 2020 NAR Board of Directors, 2019 Immediate Past President, Texas Realtors Regional VP, 2018 MetroTex Association of Realtors President, 2017 Realtor of the Year. She's been on numerous NAR committees, TR committees, currently on the 2020 RPAC President's Circle, and she is your biggest fan and huge friend to all the affiliates here at MetroTex. And I could go on and on. She's also president of some other business affiliations. So I'd love to welcome Linda here today. Thank you so much. I also want to say hello to Miss Ashley Gentry, Realtor owner of RedBranch Realty. Thank you so much for joining us today. Ashley began her real estate career over 18 years ago, specializing in residential sales and investment properties. Her team has transacted over 500 deals across North Texas, not including raw land and multiple development projects. She developed her passion for all things in real estate quite early on. Some would say destined to follow her mother, Sherry Farbacher's footsteps. With an emphasis on technology and marketing, coupled with her drive to make a difference in the industry, she propelled herself into different leadership opportunities throughout DFW. The start of her own family brought everything full circle, proudly joining forces with Sherry over 7 years ago to create RedBranch Realty. Every day is a new opportunity for Ashley to continue to do what she loves, helping others achieve their dreams through residential and commercial real estate. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay, and on my side, good morning, everybody. We've got Dave Bowman with Century 21, working with his father, Mike Bowman. Dave's been in the business since he was 5 years old. So maybe if we got a photo in the background, you can show us later of you, a 5-year-old realtor. But grew up in Dallas, went to Texas Tech, guns up, and really pretty much been in the real estate business since 1986, working with his father. They do a lot of commercial real estate, REO, new construction, really everything dabbling in the real estate industry. Currently, he's the chief operating officer of, sorry about that, Century 21. And he's going to give us great insight into everything that's going on in the real estate business. He pretty much credits all his success to his agents and everybody that surrounds them in their team. So welcome, Dave. And then lastly, we have Healy, who has been a realtor in the area for almost 20 years. Pretty much kind of an auctioneer of real estate. He's 20 under 40, 30 under 30, 40 under 40. He's been rocking it in real estate for quite a while. He has been all over the television, kind of a national expert on Fox TV, Fox News, CNBC, MSNBC. Check out his YouTube channels. He's got a lot of good information for us today on real estate. So welcome, Rogers.
Thank you, Francie. So as we walk through the questions today, the questions that we're going to be asking of you and helping us understand a better picture on how we can interact and relate with your agents and your offices, all the questions came from the affiliates on the affiliate committee. So we'll be representing them with their questions and ideas and their heartfelt desire to understand how to better work with you and your agents during this unprecedented time. So starting with and we'll share the questions to kind of stay respectful of the time. Not everyone will be required to answer every single question. So we're going to have fun. So let's get started. I did want to ask a basic question is, what do you like most about being a broker? And I do want to address this one to each one of you. So we'll start with Linda.
I think the thing that I like best is that in some way I can make an impact on these agents, and in turn, they make a great impact on their clients. One of my favorite things is to be a resource and to help them develop their business. And when they get excited about a closing or a transaction, I'm right there with them, just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. World domination. Let's win. So, I mean, that's kind of what gives me my why I'm here every day, is to, help them move along.
Thank you, Linda. Dave Bowman. What do you like most about being a broker?
Kind of the same thing. It's the people here in the office. That's my why. That's why I get up. Exactly the same thing Linda talked about, to help them achieve their dreams, to help them through their, frustrations, and try to, get to a resolution that's good for everyone.
Thank you, Dave. Miss Ashley.
So I am a practitioner and a manager. And so, I get it from both sides, but, we create generational wealth with our clients, but to also teach realtors how to create generational wealth for their families by being successful entrepreneurs and making a difference in our communities is pretty awesome. Being entrepreneurial myself, I love to see things go through a process and start, from start to finish and see that success. So to watch these agents, whether young in their business or young in age, then transcend all of that and have very successful, impactful careers is pretty satisfying. So I think we all have that same commonality with our offices for sure.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Sure, yeah, I think everybody gave great answers. The only thing I'll add is that I didn't have a mentor when I started my real estate career, and I didn't have a lot of confidence before real estate. So I think one of the joys that we have is helping people, find something inside of them that maybe they didn't know was there. And it took me, unfortunately, a long time to figure it out. But yeah, just giving people a chance. And I think that at the end of the day, we broker a lot of things. And I think one of the least important things we broker is real estate. So whether it's generational wealth or confidence or just giving people a shot, I think being able to go and, just tell someone they've got the potential. And over time, I think something that we do that's really special too is for me personally, my why has changed multiple times, right? I got into real estate at a young age. My why was to make money and to prove people wrong, right? And then started my company because my why was to go find people that were like me, when I first started out. So yeah, it's a lot of things, but for me, it's the ability to go help people, find their way and become confident, within the world of real estate.
Thank you. I think I hear a similar tone through everyone's answer in their heart as to why they do what they do. And I think everyone here in this forum has the same outlook and impression on themselves with what they do. So one question about this is, during COVID-19, it's changed all our lives, how we work, how we operate, how we function. So how has the social distancing impacted your agents on how they work and try to get business?
I'll start.
Yes, sir.
So I'm overly cautious, and we shut our offices down at 3 p.m. on March 11th, and it came with a lot of backlash. Big reason for me, my fiance has chronic asthma. My grandmother's 98. She's my best friend. And a lot of people saw it to be selfish, but we immediately, like everyone else, we had to learn how to be agile, right? And whether you've been doing it for 2 months or 50 years, people get set in their ways. And so something that we had to go, and obviously this is an example of it, we immediately went to stuff that we had never used before. So Zoom training, closing the office, and also getting people physically connected, where everyone up here, something that we all do a good job of is culture. So my biggest fear at the beginning was, how do we go and continue to enhance culture when there's at least a 6 foot, but probably a 20-mile difference between us? So we over communicated. And I think by doing that, we helped people eliminate that side of their mind that was scared, right? Which for brokers, for owners, for managers, obviously our revenue is built off other people creating revenue. So it was really just going and acting first. I think being proactive versus being reactive was a really strategic move for all of us. And surprisingly, I don't think the numbers of realtors have quit like I thought they were going to.
Mr. Bowman.
No, I agree. I mean, it was the ability to adapt quickly, to the situation. Our agents getting used to wearing masks, social distancing, but I agree with Roger's what he's talking about. The over communication was paramount, keeping people informed and getting them to adapt to the environment as well.
Because you both have huge offices, so you have so many realtors that come into the office every single day. So I'm sure this kind of, helping guide them, their agents in your office, on how to conduct business was huge.
Yeah, I had to kind of take it on the chin too. I'll be vulnerable here. All of our trainings, I built out most of them. It was based off how I started my career, and I was programmed to where like Dave, I got to work with my dad, not in real estate, but just as a kid growing up. And I was just programmed that I had to go to the office to be productive, right? I'm in my home office right now in shorts and tube socks, right? And so I had to go lead by example, which means I had to go, and literally part of our training is like, what do I do when I'm in real estate? Where one of my things was show up to the office. And so, you know, being intentional, I think also is really important, because Dave and I both have access to impressionable people, whether they're 19 years old or 95 years old, that need to literally just be fed information, because if not, it's just this island of lost toys. I had to react quickly in order to go and, you know, not have to worry about people from my office reacting on the agent side.
Exactly.
Linda, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, we closed very early, like Rogers. Fortunately, Coldwell Banker, well, fortunately or unfortunately, is in the main office is in the Northeast. So they saw they kind of saw the writing on the wall. So we did close, but I think the biggest thing was to be a resource for the agents, to be responsive if they text, if they called, if they had a problem. I mean, I would go through and reach out to them, and we had just kind of like little Zoom meetings 3 times a week, where it was just coffee, conversation, and connection. You know, who has a problem? You know, how can we help this? And then really encourage them to reach out and be a resource for their clients. You know, this is not a time, you know, where you're going to list, you're going to sell. Just touch base. How are you? You know, I have these resources. Can I send this information to you? Just so that, you know, they could stay in touch, and we had a semblance of connection. I think for some of us who are really extroverted introverts, the social distancing was not so bad. My little dog really loved it. She's a little miffed that I'm coming back into the office. She's looking at me like, well, where are you going? You know, but I think for a lot of folks too, it's, you know, having to kind of regroup and figure out how they do their business, because the businesses are developed on relationships, and you have to keep those relationships going. So that's
Thank
the big
you. Thank you all. Another question that came up in the series, I'm going to ask Miss Ashley this question. Is it, and I'm so sorry, you'll tell I'm from Texas. I'm a Mr. and Miss Gal all day
You're
long.
good. You're good.
It's okay.
Hey, stop it. Is it more effective to market to the broker, office manager, or individual realtors? That was one of the questions that we had. Keeping in mind, I think this was actually presented to me right in the midst of COVID-19.
Sure.
It all started.
Hey, I can only speak for myself, because we're a much smaller independent brokerage, so our office is a little different. Our agents, we bring them on as more of a team environment as far as support, like Rogers had said, not having that mentorship early on. And my mother being a consummate educator, trainer, mentor, and leader in several large brands. That's why we started RedBranch, was to make sure that we were able to do both, satisfy the mentorship side by also scaling and trying to push that envelope. And so we tell our agents, please, and this might not always be popular, but I don't want them busy with trying to vet and find the right resources and the right affiliates to support their businesses. So many times it's hard enough to lead generate and get them disciplined on that side. And there's so many different aspects that go in there. So again, in a smaller office, it is easier for us to do that, but not that they can't go out and make their own relationships. But I will say providing value to our office and showing that you provide value to our clients always makes me a great advocate for our agents to utilize those resources.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Dave Bowman, same question.
Sure. Kind of depends. I would say a lot with the size of our office, title company and mortgage, that's probably going to be more on an individual basis and preference. Others, home warranty as such, probably a mixture of both management and individual agents. I think it would tend to be more that way if you were going to try to communicate to get business.
Thank you. Francie, I'm going to pass off some of these to you.
Okay, and given the time, we'll ask this as a group as a whole also. kind of given our COVID-19, as affiliates, we want to support all of your agents. We want to know the best way we can support the agents, but given these times, what's the best way to reach your team as a whole? Because not the old days of bringing by some, ice cream treats to your office. So how do y'all recommend that we reach everyone as a team in your offices?
That's a good question, Francie. Oh, go ahead, Rogers. Go ahead.
No, please. I just the awkward silence was getting to me, and I had to say something.
We have that in common.
It makes you think.
Yes.
I just heard ice cream, and mine just working. So I'm sorry.
Is it Bluebell?
You know.
I don't care.
So I think it's the same for us and both sides, just because, again, being a smaller office and most of my agents don't come in the office every day. But I will tell you, it's the same thing of I told our agents when they're reaching out to their clients and their sphere of influence, be a community ambassador and come from a place of value. So, we're utilizing video messages. I was already doing that, but I wasn't always something that everybody was comfortable with. And so now they're having to be on video and having to record and do different things like that. And so I would just encourage you to reach out and say, how has your business been? Is there anything I can support you or support your clients? Especially as a mover, Francie, I'm sure there's been a lot of question around, different practices that you guys have put in place. And so I wouldn't say this is necessarily the right time to get without having a personal relationship or some sort of warm introduction on that side. But, continue to say you're there. I think that's what's been really interesting is not all the affiliates have been checking in, the ones that we've been using all the time. They've I think everybody's just struggling to find their footing, but just continue to develop those relationships you already have, and word of mouth will continue for you guys as well to tell our peers and our colleagues.
I think it's very, very similar, just like, referrals for agents with clients. If you do a great job, if you under promise and over deliver, and follow through with what you say. I mean, with an individual agent, when the question comes up, well, does anybody know of a good mover? Oh yeah, you got to call Francie. She's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the similar type of situation as it is, with agents. Does anybody have a good real estate agent? Oh yeah, you need to call Ashley. She's great.
Oh.
Or Rogers. I'm sorry, Rogers. Well, if they want to go, we can do Rogers.
No competition here. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Rogers.
Yeah, I'm a non-competing manager, so I'm not competing with you guys, so it's all good.
Okay, so I'm going to speak. I'll make sure I'm not interrupting Linda, but to the vendors and the referral partners, non-real estate watching this, here's my advice: add value to people in the real estate business, and like cheesy swag is going to get you about 8 seconds worth of a relationship. I love ice cream. I don't need ice cream. And like the realtors that can afford a free sandwich, are the realtors that can buy themselves a sandwich with their own money are the realtors you want their business. I tell you this to what I've learned too, to play off Ashley, Linda, and I'm sure what Dave was thinking as well. One of our immediate shifts, which it blew my mind that I had to go encourage realtors to do this, pick up the phone and ask people how they're doing. Period. How are you? This time sucks. All right. What the hell's going on in the world? I haven't seen you in a few months, right? Which is like subliminal text for like, please don't quit. So with that being said, call a realtor or a broker and just ask them how they're doing. And it'll flip the script, because we all know that phone call when we get it, we're just like, hey, it's Rogers. Hey, Rogers, how you doing? Great. But I have it. Right. It's like, I don't need a daily planner, right? I use it on my phone. I don't need a desk calendar. I use it on my phone. But if you call me and you check on me, it's going to establish the relationship to where any top of mind salesperson is always going to have the first shot. On top of that, educating us right now is key. Right? Like back in the day, I'm a real estate guy, right? I own a relocation company, a property management company, and I used to take pride in the fact that I knew nothing about mortgages, right? Fairway is our in-house mortgage company, and I've spent time over the past 3 months learning the language of mortgages, right? And I think that realtors take pride in being these one-trick ponies, but we can actually add value if we knew enough to where we get it to the finish line and we say, hey, call Francie for the move, call XYZ for this. And I think we do that, we become more trusted, where realtors are going to be able to evolve, with the professional, rapport that we deserve.
And I think realtors like to build their team, and their team are their go-to people who they know will perform and will make them look good.
Yeah. And also referrals are great, right? I've always learned the best way to get a deal is to give a deal. And I can count on 0 hands how many referrals I've gotten from vendors, right? Which I know it's kind of awkward to where a lot of those people live in the in-between, but real estate people listen differently. And it doesn't mean that vendors in the real estate world can't listen the same way we do. So yeah, I think that'd be nice as well.
And I want to add to that, Francie, real quick. Hold on. Sorry. You know, the value in the education can come in different ways with everything that we're having to do. And we had that discussion of it could be months before association offices are opened, other offices are open, different types of training. So if you found something that has been crucial to your business during this time to keep in contact with your clients, pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm using BombBomb and it's been a lifesaver because it's been the best virtual resource for my business. And I know you guys are swamped. I would love to do a virtual training session with your agents and show them how they could utilize this and give prime examples. So, and I know everybody's trying to provide classes, but to have that intentional conversation with, Ashley, have you guys tried this yet? Because if you haven't, I think you need to look into it. I know how you guys operate, and it's something that will work for RedBranch. And just say, to know that you thought about me personally and not 500 other realtors when you're trying to provide a resource means everything.
No, and I just want to confirm everything they've said, especially the education training classes, it's overload. But that personal phone call of saying, hey, how can I help? Or providing us our agents information that can help them with their business, you're going to go a lot farther.
Absolutely.
Just a little extra, and talk to them like they're a person. You know, like you want to get to know them, not as a source of business.
Realtors are people too.
Yes, we are.
Realtors are people too. Everybody remember that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Realtors are people too, and broker managers, we get beat up every day. You know, we're kind of squeezed in the middle between affiliates, agents, clients, corporate offices. So be really nice to your office managers.
These are all great answers. Y'all are great because you're kind of blowing through all the questions that I have before I turn over to Jeanette. But because it was kind of like, well, how do we get on your preferred list? What should we not give you? It sounds like no more ice cream for Rogers, but really just sounds like be human beings and communicate with people. Let them know who you are, that I'm a person, you're a person. Let's work and do business together so we can take care of our mutual client. So,
and that's so true what Francie said. But one thing that made me think when Francie was just saying that is, what can get an affiliate on the naughty list? Is this set for another day? I think I need to take long notes. Oh, go ahead.
Just be sincere, right? And like sometimes a no literally means actually hell no. And I think learning how to read that is really important to where they're still going to remember you. And I think being sincere, being respectful, golden rule times 1,000 is great, right? And you have to respect some people just have relationships that they're going to work with, you know, until something goes wrong. And that's opened the door for us on real estate, right? We always try to get in, like my mom's a realtor, and all of a sudden they call, be like, my mom and I don't talk anymore. Well, here I am, you know? So it's just staying top of mind with sincerity and not being cheesy, I think is going to go a really long way.
Yeah, the not cheesy thing is real big with me. You know, don't be cheesy. I don't need a whole bunch of stuff dropped off and to litter the office. Yeah, there was one of the things that during this time for me personally, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and a lot of books and things, and there was one quote that came, and I can't remember who it was, but it says, the goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. And if you do business with people who believe what you believe, I mean, there'll be a very, very strong synergy and a very strong bond. So you really kind of got to figure out what makes these people tick, you know, what's important to them. And if it meshes, it'll be a great relationship.
And to add to that, on the naughty list, you know, the first thing before we even work through a transaction, if I'm a buyer's agent or a listing agent, and you're a lender and calling me and saying, well, have you ever done business with us before? And all of these other things. And you can't even get my name or my assistant's name right in an email. That's not really teeing yourselves up for success. Provide phenomenal value through a transaction, and I'll remember you as a listing agent that you got that done. When you do a good job, even if we don't audibly say it, trust me, just like there's a mental burn book for some people, there's also a good list that we retain as well. And you also want to work with people that are loyal to their current affiliates and vendors that they're working with. Because or else, why would you want to court me if I'm just going to dump somebody because you're giving me office perks or something else? Background noises, I apologize. But going beyond that, I really encourage you guys to continue to provide value, even if I said, I have a wonderful relationship with a title company. But there are times where, especially through something like this, things start going to the wayside, and you stop providing that same type of service when the market shifts or we're in a global pandemic. And so some of my vendors aren't able to catch their breath, and I'll give them an opportunity. But if they don't rebound, it's an opportunity for you guys. So continue to do that. And I will tell you, I switched title companies when my business was going through a transition about 3 to 4 years ago. And that business development person treated me with so much respect and so much attention when I didn't bring her a deal for 10 months. And now I sing her praises, and they are fair Texas now. But I will tell anybody and everyone that they deserve your business, not only because they're the best in the business, but because they also will treat you like a human if you're a realtor. So just continue to do that, and you guys will win out.
I don't want to stop the synergy of this conversation, but I did want to check with Bill. We have some background noise. If there's any way to mute anyone who's not on the panel, that would be great. I see we've had a few people join us. I just want to make sure that we can all hear these amazing panelists that are here today.
And they are all muted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Dave.
Yeah, and I think going back to what we talked about the last question, you've got a great opportunity right now as vendors just to call and see what you can do to help. But I agree. You start hitting me with your sales, you hit our agents, you're going to get turned off. You've got a great opportunity right now because of what we're facing. But it needs to be carrying, exactly what the other brokers said. Provide something of value. Don't be offended if our agents already have those great relationships. Just check back from time to time, because sometimes those relationships do change.
Well, and one of the things too is when you're talking with them, listen more than you talk to them, because there may be something that comes up that that you find out and you go, oh, wait, Ashley would really be excited about this. Let me call her and let her know that this is happening, and that she'll go like, wow, they really listen. She really listened to me as a person and what I was interested in. That'll get you a long way.
So it sounds like respect, sincerity, providing a valued service are some of the things I'm hearing for the affiliates that are on this call today and at MetroTex on how to better serve, especially during these times.
Yeah, because one of the questions that we were posed with in our group was, since we've all been in shut-in for 3 months, we've all now learned how to do video texting. So what do you recommend about sending those to all your agents in a blast? It sounds like it's not something that you would recommend. Ashley?
But if you're going to do it, like say, hey, Francie, it's Rogers. I hope you're doing, like, personalize it, right? It's like,
one-on-one.
How many times have you gotten a thank you note in the last 20 years, right? You get a thank you note, you're like, someone spent this money on the stamp, the stationery, but they spent the time to do it, and it's actually got a word spelled wrong, which means they actually hand wrote it, right? And I think finding a way to do it, people are going to eventually remember it versus like a BCC, right? Like it does way more bad than good, but you can still find ways to add dimension to networking.
And just like realtors can do reverse prospecting, and when they've got a listing, and look, most of the time people go, if I needed to see your listing, I'd look at it in the MLS. I have an auto alert set up. sometimes they're so inundated, maybe there's something really unique about the property. And so I turn around and instead of clicking all the boxes and automating it to those realtors, I turn around and I send a personal email to every single realtor on that reverse prospecting list. And I say, here's why this is different. You might not have seen it. Here's the upgrades list. It's a mother-in-law suite that's hard to search on our MLS, something like that. And I put it in there. I have an 85% open rate when I reverse prospect because of that. So it's the same thing for you guys. Don't send me a mass email. Turn around. Guys, I'm going to put myself on speaker. That is. I don't know if it's, I think we all more personalized one-on-one.
Okay, yeah. Dave, what do you think?
Here again, just like everybody's saying, it's getting back to that personal touch. Okay. One thing that actually had mentioned earlier too, and I agree 100%. When you do a sterling job, trust me, we remember. I had to get involved in a transaction that went bad with one of our agents, and the escrow officer. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and give him kudos. I've never met him before, haven't seen him since. But Jason Ramsey was spot on, returned phone calls. And if something came up, I'm telling my agents, hey, go work with that guy. So doing a great job does get recognized. Might not be immediate, but when you do your job and do it well, we do notice.
I think that, and I think that's kind of evident when agents get into a multiple offer situation. They've got 3 or 4 offers here, and they go, okay, I know this agent, and I know this agent has a great lender and a great team, and I know this is going to get done. I don't really know this agent. So it's kind of the same thing, when you've got a client who's looking at a lender, whether they're doing this one, or this one, you kind of like, go, I know this one will work the transaction and get it done. This will get it closed without any problems. This home warranty has been exceptional. They're local. We can reach out and, put your hands around their neck if needs be. But those things, they all play together. And whether it's, agents or lenders or home warranty or roofers or movers, they'll remember the good things, but they'll also remember the bad things. And it's just like, when you're the media, there can be so much good media, but there's that one bad thing that pops into people's minds. So it's really performance. Do what you say you're going to do. That's the main thing, because they want to be able to trust you. They want to be able to count on you, and that's something that it takes away a lot of pain points for the agents if that bond and that trust is there with affiliates.
We're all getting disrupted. Hold on, I just want to put it. We're all getting disrupted in our industry. Realtors aren't the only ones that have tech companies coming in, iBuyers and everything else. So if it hasn't come to your part of your industry yet, it will. It's because we all stopped providing our value proposition clearly. So if you just do that, even think about that before you pick up the phone or text or anything else. What do I have to provide value to this realtor that I'm about to talk to? I guarantee you it will get you spades and spades over any type of mass marketing or swag or anything else it's cold and sterile and not personal.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Sing it, sister.
So one thing, and I know we heard from Rogers about when they will or may not be opening up their offices. For a lot of people who are curious about, they just have to have that face-to-face and, hello. I would say hug, but that's so, so faux pas these days. When, for your offices, when do you anticipate or foresee opening up back in the future? End of the year, next month?
Are you asking me?
Rogers.
Yeah, when there's a vaccine.
That could be next year, 2 years from now.
Yeah,
a long time.
I'm still paying rent, and I don't want to, but yeah, I listen. There's a lot of there's a lot of unknowns right now. And again, speaking to what I said 10 minutes ago, I always took pride in being in a combination of old school and new school. But the most old school thing about me was physically being in the office. But my new school thing about me doesn't want to get sued, right? And so how do we know that if somebody contracts COVID, they can't trace it back to our office? And so I just live in fear differently, and it sucks, right? And I just know there's people that are lonely, and we've hired people over the last couple months that literally haven't met anybody. But that's just, you know, I'm just real black and white with it. And every day there's like a new breaking story about something that just came out, and the stock market does this, and the next day it does it. It's just like, you know, I gotta just I gotta stay consistent with what matters most to me outside of business, and that's the safety of the people that I love and myself. So we'll probably be the last office to physically open up. And I just signed a 7-year lease, so that's really neat. And if my landlords are watching this, here's what it's going to help me be happy. Give me free rent, please.
Help Rogers. We'll start wearing those signs. Help Rogers.
Let's do a GoFundMe for me to pay my office lease.
Dave, what about Century 21, Mike Bowman's office?
We've opened up at a limited capacity. Still do not allow agents to bring their clients in. We're in a very large space, so social distancing's very, very easy for us. Plus, we deep clean on a consistent basis all the time. So, but we do not allow everybody to come in. It's we probably run right now 20% capacity.
So it sounds like for you, it sounds like they need to make an appointment with their favorite person if they wanted to come talk to them, or take them, you know, somewhere else.
So, Anjanette, we're actually opening on Monday, opening back up. We do have very strict protocols on your presence in office, and also very strict cleaning protocols that have come down from our corporate entity. So we've been closed. The agents have been able to come in, but it's not been open to the public, but we will be doing that on Monday.
Thank you. Ashley.
So I guess technically we didn't ever close. I am not in a traditional brick and mortar office space, and I'm very pleased that we weren't in this situation, because we are in a we're in a Jaeger building, which they're only in Collin County, but if you ever get to pop into one, they're super cool. But the cleaning aspects and the things that they put into place from a liability standpoint has been phenomenal. But we're in a, you know, we've got conference rooms and other things, but all my agents prefer to work from home. So it hasn't been a huge difference for us. And I've actually come to my little office in here every single day to have some semblance of normalcy with a 6.5-year-old at home and 3 dogs and a husband. So, but it's all within reason, and it's probably more of the husband, not the kid. But it's, I'm going to say something again, to be honest, I don't want you coming to my office to begin with. So it's not to be ugly. It's just to say that's not where you're going to get my business, is by showing up at my door with a stack of cards. And in fact, half the time I'm on a call because there isn't a lobby. There is a lobby, but it's not a lobby for my individual office. So you're knocking on my door, and I could be in a meeting or doing something else. And truly, it's disruptive. And so it puts you on the naughty list. You didn't even let me know. You didn't ask if you could come. So that's me. And I've been in traditional offices, and I've actually managed traditional offices, and I've always felt that way. So that's my opinion on that one.
Well, thank you. At this time, I'd like to check in with Diana and see what questions that we have in the Q&A chat room for our panelists.
Hi, Anjanette. I'm going through right now to see if I see any questions.
You know, early on we had mentioned we'd give them a chance, anything they think of along the way while we were talking, to see if anybody had a question, to let them have a chance to answer.
If anybody has a
question,
I actually put it in the chat and we can unmute you.
I'd like to throw a question out there, actually. I'd love to see what everybody's opinion is on referral fees and different things like that. And I've seen a major uptick in that right now during the pandemic, where people are offering agents, you know, a gift or something else to utilize their services, and how that's perceived with other managers, brokers.
Anyone want to add that?
Yeah, we're not big on the accepting referral fee just because of the disclosure requirements and everything. And just here again, we're more about, and this time we brought our agents up, the quality service is more important than, you know, a referral fee you get because of them referring. So we don't allow it at our office.
Hey, Anjanette.
Hey, Jaime Garza.
You have to hear me. Hey, it's Jaime from Sharp. Maybe to that question. Never gone the route of offering incentives or referral fees. I'm just one to the brokers of we want to deliver on the value proposition of the service and the quality of the. I think we've tested it maybe at the very beginning, offering something like that. And usually what happens is they may take you up on the offer once, but then they're going to go back to who they normally use most likely. But when
Bad connection.
Jaime, I'm sorry, you're cutting off. If you could add your question to the chat.
I think what he said is he found that if you offer somebody for free, they're going to take it. And then if it's not free the second time, they're going to go back to the person they used before it was free.
Yep.
Which is true. But Ashley, I don't know if your question was for vendors or for other brokers. And I know Dave answered it. I'll add something to it also. You guys that are watching this, brokers, vendors, whatever, go after people that don't need something for free. And if you look at realtors, there's a reason that all the statistics that we could list out over and over, there's a reason they come and they go, right? Revolving door. The way to go and keep that from happening is to go focus on the ones that produce them, because those are the best recruiters. The best recruiters in my office history, and I'm sure y'all, are the ones that are top producing agents. They're going to recruit people that see them online that are jealous, that want to be like them, or they're going to recruit agents at another office they did a deal with that likes them. And I think if you focus on that, it's going to trickle down from the top. And I was going to say something earlier, but I never forget, I was 21 years old when I got my real estate license, and I had a lady from a title company that doesn't even exist anymore call me and say, I'd like to buy you lunch. And I was like, I was literally a junior in college, and I was like, why? They're like, well, we just want to walk. I didn't get it, right? For 8 years straight, I sent them every contract to get my hands on, right? Because I didn't understand. And then Jaime, who's our media partner, I mean, he just does a great job. And on top of that too, like, don't ask for a discount, right? I think there's just ways to go and do this where we all know how many people are getting their real estate license on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But if you want to really have your mind blown, find out how many last. 80% of people that get their license literally quit within a 4-month span. So where all that to me points to focusing on the people that have done it for a while. And it's going to take time, right? But our conversion cycle is not as bad as a financial advisor. It's not as bad as a family attorney. It's not as bad as an insurance person. But for us to get money on the real estate side, we want to go after people with money, which means on the vendor side, go after the realtors that have access to those people. I think if you do that, it's going to flip the model, and you're not going to have so many frisbees in the gutter with a random logo on it. You're going to have people actually bringing business that's going to keep us afloat. I know people love frisbees, but you know,
my dog does. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that was my point. I wanted to bring up that dialogue because, again, and it goes back. And also, I don't want to just hear from you when I give you business. So there might be a span where something's not closing, and then there's 15 deals in the pipeline that are 60 days out, and I don't hear from you unless you get a contract or unless you get a contact. It puts a seed of doubt. And I'm not saying we're all busy. So don't get me wrong. It's not because you don't want to talk to me, but sometimes that's the only time where you go, oh gosh, I need to talk to Ashley. She just sent us a contract. I would love to be on the forefront of your mind when I'm not sending you business. And that really resonates with me. I mean, you can see behind me, I have a commercial card stand, and Roger's touched on that as well. And I'm huge on that. So even if it's just the card, not to say thank you for the business, but hey, I haven't seen your face in a while, and this card made me think of you. I've got tons of different cards that can actually speak to a person's personality. And I think that goes over and beyond anything you guys could physically do. So.
Thank you. I did notice a couple of questions in the chat room. One was Kathy Mullen. Her question was, have you noticed an increase or decrease in new agent recruits since COVID-19? Who wants to attack that?
Oh, I think there's still tons out there. They're just now getting through the backlog of testing. We can all pull lists anytime you want from Trek, and there's still just as many. There's just as many getting ready to take their test. But like, Roger said, it is a process, and I think there's so many of them don't really understand the total picture of the total dynamic of the industry. And they do cycle through quite regularly, but the ones that are, probably, the ones that have been in business for a while, and, you can find them, you see their signs, you see them participating in different activities and things like that. Those are the ones that have been in business for a while and are going to continue to be in business. And it may just be 1 or 2 years, but yet they're productive. They're productive agents. There's a difference, and there's a difference in how they approach the business and their attitude. And those are the ones that you want to be on their team.
Here's a suggestion too. You vendors that are trying to get business, call a top producing realtor. Don't even ask for their business. Call them and ask for names of 3 people that are up and coming realtors, which is going to play to their ego, which everybody has an ego in this business, big or little or whatever. Ask them. Ask them for an intro. And to go back to one of the questions from 30, 45 minutes ago, what we are, among other things, is we're a gatekeeper. Right, and if we can go open the door for a vendor, then great, right? We all know what it's like to hustle, and it's if you grew the realtor rank or you came up along the realtor rank, you just wanted a deal. A deal is confidence, right? And you want to be able to have some stuff to say that I worked with this guy, I worked with this girl, and it just works. But call them and don't even ask them for a deal. Say, who do you know at your office that I could talk to, right? Which is just subtext for you're probably not going to use me. Which it might flip the script on that person where, wow, this person is so nice that I actually do want to use them now, right? There's a million different ways to angle it, but I think just asking for that intro and getting the door open really will help out versus just something relatively cold.
I have one
better than a cold call, isn't it, Rogers?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
I said a warm call is always better than a cold call.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
One last question from Lance Donahue with Inspect 360. We have seen more requests for pre-listing inspections, particularly from attorneys, since COVID-19. What other changes to the transaction timeline have you seen? I'll start with Dave.
As far as changes, I don't necessarily know. I mean, I haven't seen an uptick on the pre-list. It's just more and more is done stay at home virtually, electronically, is what I've seen. But other than that, as far as different timelines or requests, now I will say this, I'm a ping pong ball when it comes to clients with our agents calling and our protocols, because 50% don't like our protocols because they're too strict. The other 50% are calling and yelling at me because they're not strict enough, and that's the only thing that I get issue. I'll have an agent call up because we send out a protocol and I've got a seller yelling and screaming because they got to get out of here. And, I'm being way too strict with what I'm requiring. And then it's not 30 minutes later, I'm getting a call from another seller going, my God, nobody can come into my house. You have to do it virtually. I can't believe your protocols aren't stricter. So that's probably my biggest issue I have to deal with right now, is trying to balancing act and appease everybody.
Ugh.
We do it every day though, Dave.
Yeah,
COVID-19 or not.
Yeah.
But what an opportunity for us to take a stand, and like we all know this, whether you have 2 realtors or 1,000 working for you, those are our bosses, right? But at the same time, like I approached becoming a sellout a few years ago, and I was so ashamed of myself. And I was like, I'm hiring people based on my ego again. It's like, I want to be with people like We want to work with vendors we have something in common with. I want people working for me I have something in common with, because at the end of the day, the last thing I want to talk about is real estate. So I want to be with people that I align with, that I'm equally yoked with, and we have common interests where I can go be like, hey, our office is probably going to be closed down for a while. They're going to be like, hey, we're so proud of you, or whatever the protocol is. But to answer your question, the biggest thing for us is the back-end management with stuff like open houses, right? As you guys can tell, one of my themes is avoiding risk. And every time someone has an open house now, we have to have that COVID form signed by multiple parties. Trying to get a realtor to do any paperwork is like pulling teeth, right? And try to get them to do it weekly is like pulling a layer of teeth that don't even, it's like shark teeth. So we're just really trying to go and be very, black and white. These are the rules. This is what you're doing. If you don't abide by it, you can't go practice. And eventually the stubborn ones are going to come around, which, it makes it more professional. It takes away a little bit of the like buddy relationship, which I'm kind of over anyway. But I think that we have to just lead by example and kind of reset the relationship, right? And the broker at the end of the day mitigates risk, period. Our job is to go and make sure we don't get in trouble, we don't get sued, and the real estate community as a whole is not laughed upon. So the way to do that right now is like, hey, we're the Wizard of Oz. These are the rules. If you don't like it, please try something else.
Toodle on down the yellow brick road.
Yeah.
I have one final question from Sam Brock. And his question and we'll start with Dave and then Ashley, is what specific value add from a lender is most important to you right now?
Returning phone calls.
Always.
The thing
yeah, sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say, biggest frustration is, and don't be a hero. Oh, we're all adults here. If there's an issue, let us know about the issue. Don't go ahead and give the big surprise 2 days before closing. So I would say return phone calls and don't be a hero. Just explain, set the expectations up front. We're all adults. I would much rather understand going in than waiting to find out the surprise 2 days before closing.
I think responsiveness is key, because everybody's on edge in general. And if you communicate, if there's a level of communication, then the anxiety level goes down, that they know what to expect, and they know that if they call you, that you will respond instead of waiting 2 days. I mean, by that time, the anxiety spiraled almost out of control. And we've got too much exterior things happening other than a transaction that just exacerbates that anxiety on other levels. So it's important.
From a value add standpoint, I think it's the same thing regardless if you're a lender or a mover or a title company. Check in, be kind, be personable, and at the same time, when we're in a transaction, be overly communicative, which is what we're having to do with our agents and our clients, right? Because everybody is feeling less assured as the days go on. And it's our job as the top. We're the gatekeepers, and we're also the top of the pyramid. So when things go right, we might get all the accolades, but when things go wrong, we're also the ones that get punched in the face. So, so remember that. And be patient. If we're asking a lot of updates, it's probably because we have a nervous seller right now that doesn't know what's going on with an appraisal. And maybe that's something that you guys could check on a little bit more. I've had 4 drive-by appraisals, and agents, when I'm asking the lender what's going on, they're not communicating. So just adding an extra level of communication with your back-end process, and then again, treating us like human beings that maybe need a kind, merciful hug too. We have bad days, and just picking up on the phone and say, hey, how has your day been? Are you doing okay? Have you eaten a lot of crow lately, or had a lot of face punches, different things like that, because our spouses and our families don't necessarily want to hear about real estate all the time, but maybe we can vent to an industry partner and we just need that for 5 minutes to recalibrate and move on.
Well, on that note, thank you all so much on what Ashley just said. Big hugs from your industry partners at MetroTex and your affiliates. We are here for you every day, and your insight, your wisdom, the comments that each of you shared to us and for us and with us today are greatly appreciated. We have I'm looking at numerous chat in the chat room of thank yous from every single affiliate that was on the call today. And we are recording this to share it with more affiliates who could not be here today. But I want to thank Ashley and Linda and Dave and Rogers. Thank you each very much for being here. And for the affiliates that are on the call, don't hang up. We're having a committee meeting in about 3 minutes.